Everyone, thank you guys so much for joining the Cash Geeks Network show. It's every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got my man, Jesse Lane, on the show.
So glad to be here, bro.
Oh, man, I'm
This
pumped.
is epic.
Man, thanks for doing this, man. We truly appreciate it, dude.
I've heard so much about you guys, man.
Yeah. I mean, and we're just honored to have you on, people like yourself. And we just, we're here to learn. We're here to pick your brain, and we're here to just absorb everything we can. And
dude, I'm here to be picked. I typically am not picked for free.
Heard that before.
My brain's typically not picked for free. Like JesseLaneConsulting.com, people go there and they pay $800 an hour or so to consult with me. And every time someone books a consultation, I always raise my price because it's like, supply and demand.
And you hear that, guys? You guys get it for free tonight for the next hour. So any questions that you got, go ahead and plug those in the comments, and we'll try to get to everyone that we can here tonight.
Yeah.
Mr. Jesse, man, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm not going to drag it on, but drag it on, man. No, I don't want to bore anybody, but like I'm Jesse Lane. I'm the CEO and founder of J Lane Construction. So we're a commercial general contracting company in Jacksonville, Florida. So we specialize in commercial construction and multifamily renovations and new build. We do anything from airplane hangars to dessert shops to breweries to oxygen bottling facilities to, you name it, anything commercial. We're doing animal clinics back to back for the same client that just calls us back to back. So JLaneConstruction, .com. It's a great place to learn more if you really want to dive in. Also, Jesse Lane on YouTube. I have tons of videos. I have 203 videos. I just looked.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I've been on YouTube, man, since 2006.
We talked about that earlier. Yeah. That's a long time.
Dude, I was like a little whippersnapper.
Yeah. But what got you what drew you to YouTube? Because no one was on it 2000.
So Mike, the video guy, just watched my documentary.
Yeah.
And you got to watch it next.
Oh, I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. It's 58 minutes. It's called The First 30 Years. I'm about to turn 31. But anyway, I dropped it on my birthday when I turned 30.
Nice.
And it starts out with me screaming coming out of my mom. You know what I'm saying?
No, it does not.
Yeah, no joke. And literally.
Is that like a replication video of,
No, that's the whole point. It's literally, I was on camera since the day I came into Earth.
Okay.
So
it wasn't YouTube though.
Well, now it is.
Now it is.
Because now it's on YouTube. But so you asked, how did I get started on YouTube? And it's kind of like from that moment, my dad always had a camera. Oh, Jesse's 3, Jesse's 5, Jesse's 7. And I'm like always on camera. There wasn't really too many times where I wasn't on camera. So I really got to kind of get that under my belt. So I was so comfortable being on camera. It's almost like home to me. It's just like really natural. So I almost can't not have a YouTube channel at that point. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like that's like a I don't know the word, but like a alter universe to being an entrepreneur. Uh-huh. It's almost like you can't not have a business. You can't go work for someone else as an entrepreneur. I'm kind of switching gears a little bit, but we can always go back to YouTube. But I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, well, how did you become an entrepreneur? Well, how do you know you're ready to become an entrepreneur? Like I get that question a lot.
Sure.
If you're like, I would be suffocating to not be an entrepreneur. I'd be suffocating to work for someone else. And not that working for someone else is a bad thing, but it is if you are an entrepreneur at the core, a natural born entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Anyway,
makes total sense.
Yeah.
YouTube.
So same with YouTube. I feel like I was a natural born YouTuber.
So YouTube came out, you blended yourself into it, you were just one with YouTube.
Exactly. Like my friends and I, thanks for the beer too.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'd always be making skating
We got to get
videos.
the truth out of you somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Just one more beer and you got it.
Yeah.
Well, typically, I never drink more than one or maybe two. Two's like my limit. So.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But
hey, Mike, get a third, Mike.
You get a third. Not so they're real.
Yeah, so you were you were on film since you were born.
Oh, so my friends and I.
YouTube since 2006.
Exactly. We would make skateboarding videos, snowboarding videos, and we would sit there editing late into the night on iMovie.
At what age?
At like 12, 11. Like I'm sitting there on iMovie,
way.
Editing like crazy. We're adding like the text that goes across it. We'd be jumping off, like there was this quarry across the street from where we lived. And it was like this abandoned quarry. Like a quarry is where they blast dynamite into the earth, and they you'd probably like flipping a house,
right.
Quartz, granite, that's how they get the stuff.
Yep.
Quarry. So long story short, we would go and it would fill up with water. So we would jump off this like hundreds of feet of like this quarry that you'd go down and you would climb up and you'd jump up. So we'd be filming that. We'd be filming our skateboarding, crazy stuff. And like Jackass was like Bam Margera was my hero when I was like
Okay.
11.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the guy I wanted to be.
Okay.
Thank God I was not that guy. These days.
Life went in a little bit different of a direction.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I just have a herniated disc. So.
But one thing I've been curious about, because the more I learn about you, the more interested I am in the direction that you've taken in your professional lifestyle. What I mean by that is you're in construction and you've done a lot of unique projects. Right?
Yeah.
And the life that we're in is real estate. And not that you're not in real estate, you're also in real estate. And we can go into that in a little bit as well. But from what I've experienced for wholesalers, flippers, and buy and holders, they really don't want to mess with the construction part. They want to hire that out, or they want to manage the crews or whatever. And you're kind of like deep in that world. What drove you in that direction? And that's surprising to me, because a lot of people that I know, they just don't want any part of it.
They're kind of scared of it.
Manage it. They're
it's
afraid
hard.
of it.
It's a tough sport. Yeah. When I cut that first piece of wood with that skill saw, I was like, whoa,
magic.
That felt good, And it was kind of like I found my passion. And I talk about this a lot on the interviews that I do and everything, where what does it take to find your passion, and how did I find mine, and blah, blah, blah. I believe everyone has a passion, You just have to find it. I found that passion, and mine happened to be construction. I'm built for it. My grandfather was into construction and real estate. He was an entrepreneur, and my dad has his own painting business.
Okay.
And he never really scaled to like the scale that I've scaled to my 8-figure business or whatever. Okay. But at this point, I'm just following that passion path. It's like a light beam of growth.
Okay.
Once you enter into it, that's the passion light beam I always talk about, which is so cool. Like the people watching, like if you can find your passion light beam, then you're golden, and maybe it's being a greeter at Walmart, or maybe it's doing this or doing that, or maybe it's real estate wholesaling, or maybe it's commercial general contracting, but for me, part of my passion too is this. I love this so much. I love cameras. I love the people. It's not the camera, it's the people beyond. I've learned the camera so I could talk to you watching, it's the audience and I just hit 30,000 YouTube subscribers like 2 days ago, which is it's cool to have like this core niche. It's not 100,000, it's not 300,000, whatever, but it's 30,000 contractors that want to grow their businesses and watch the content. And, it's just awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, from what I've been exposed to, I just don't see very many other contracting companies out there doing what you do.
Who's doing it, bro?
Yourself, showing the accomplishments, showing the steps and the ways, and how
you
to
nailed
grow.
it on the head.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
If you're a business owner, I mean, you gotta be out there, networking. Social media is the new networking.
Yeah.
I mean, we're networking in person right now, but maybe when we're done, you're gonna go watch the documentary. You're gonna go check out my YouTube channel, maybe watch a video. But cool, nice. Whatever it is.
I'm getting into contracting.
I have people come up to me. I was just at this DLP Capital event because I bought a 10-plex and I was there at their award show. But anyway, I met Don Wenner and anyway, all those really cool guys. But long story short, they all come up to me. They're like, you don't see the likes, but they're like, I've seen your YouTube videos, Jesse. They're awesome. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you were watching.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that always surprised me because we're not nearly as big as you are in social media. We have a little bit of a following and we want to be relevant to the community.
Yeah.
We want to give back, which is why we have the show.
Yeah.
But there's always so many people that I never anticipated that ever knew about me that do know about me.
Exactly.
That have seen the videos.
Yeah.
And even though they haven't liked or commented, they've watched.
And I've
they've
seen
watched
them too.
a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't watched a lot of your show because, just time and stuff like that. But I know who you are. I know who Cash Geeks is. I see you guys around town. Like even behind the screen right here is just like the branding on point.
Thank you, sir.
Crushing it. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, do me a favor because construction at the level that you're at is extremely admirable. So I want to get to that. But when you first started, you said you ran the saw, you got excited. How did you get into starting to do projects? And what were your first projects?
So when my guy that I was working for, my old boss, Sean Reyes, said, you need to start your own LLC. That was the moment where I was like, dang, I can do this. I knew it was inside of me. So I started my own LLC and I just started going on Thumbtack, Home Advisor, Angie's List, and just going out there and building a set of stairs myself. Like if I had to, I was like 20 years old at this point.
So you had experience working for someone else prior?
Correct. Okay. Yes. So I mean, since I was 14 when I lived in Texas, and you'll see on the documentary and whatever, but long story short, I grew up in Pennsylvania until 14, moved to Texas until I was 18, and moved to Iowa for like 9 months. And then I moved to Jacksonville. So it was like 4 states. Long story short, the Texas is where I found my passion, which is, I'm so thankful for that. But then the Jacksonville was where I started my business.
Okay.
And so how did I get those first few jobs and everything like that was I took the leap of faith. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, like if you're starting to or thinking about starting your own business, just think, what's the worst that can happen? You know, so you fail, maybe you do, and you can always kind of go back, but you can't go back in time and start a business 10 years ago and 10 years from now. You know what I mean? So long story short, I just started getting some smaller projects. You got to start small, but then you got to do great work, and then you get those reviews. And then I had my camera, speaking about cameras, and I filmed a client testimonial video.
So even as early as one of the first few jobs, you were trying to
I did a little
document
kitchen remodel. Yeah, documenting from day one.
That's amazing.
Maybe not the set of stairs, but I was like, you know, whatever I could do to be like, look, guys, everyone in the world, this client loved my work, and they would recommend J Lane Construction to go build their little deck or go build their kitchen. That's how I started.
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay.
And then for some random reason, this commercial client calls me. It was a 6,000 square foot commercial tenant improvement for a wedding.
How did that person find you?
Google.
How did they even Google?
That's it.
Google. So were you
95% of the clients that call us today, maybe like 90 or 85 now that we have like a lot of more like repeat business, but Google my business.
You were running ads at that time?
No, I never ran one ad.
Never ran one ad.
Still haven't run
It's just
ad.
organic
reach
through Google.
So I started out with 7 months of SEO on J Lane Construction.
Mm-hmm.
I paid like $700 a month, like as like a young whippersnapper, just to get everything like backlinked and like started correctly, you know, set up correctly. But then like I stopped doing that. But I don't even know, like, did it help? Did it not? I think it did. But then I got 5-star reviews. Then I built an amazing website on Squarespace, and I put client testimonial videos on the website. I always built my website to say, how could a client not hire me? Also, this client knows me before they even call me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a big one. If they know you before they call you, how could they not hire you?
Bingo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this guy called, right? And I was like, I answered the phone, whatever. So I got out there with my little boots. I was like 20 years old. And long story short, had kind of an idea of what I was doing, you know, but I got the job done. I pulled in the right people.
What was the job?
It was a 6,000 square foot waxing center.
It was to build one?
It was a renovation, tenant improvement. So tenant improvement is like you go into, it was
commercial
off St. John's Bluff. Yeah. So it's like they wax
St. John's
people's
Bluff and Beach?
private parts.
Was it Brazil?
Brazil's.
Oh yeah. My old office for my first business was in that exact park.
Way.
We were neighbors with that place.
Oh wow. That was my first commercial project
Above
ever.
Services. We were a mortgage field service. We were a multi-state property preservation company. Yeah. So we were neighbors with your first project.
That's so cool.
That's
man.
amazing.
And
when was that?
Yeah, I was like 22, so I'm 31 now, just about. So 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
But so we built it. Then they did a client testimonial video for me. You know, I got my way through the project. You know, brought in the right people. Clients.
That's amazing. Didn't they have like shades in the windows?
It was gorgeous. Yeah. So client testimonial video, and then that's what started everything. That's what started my commercial career. Then like a year later or so, I was talking to this guy, George Headley, which we're going to start doing some content together because he's not on YouTube or anything at all, but I read his book.
Okay.
And long story short, he's like a consultant guy that I was consulting with. And he's like, get that residential stuff off your website. I was like, but George, like, I need it. Like, you know, because it's like scary.
What was the residential stuff?
Just like all the kitchens and additions and, and I'll build you a house and like anything that's not commercial general contracting. And this is probably, I don't even know the year that was.
Okay.
A bunch of years ago, 7 years ago. So then I did it, and it's been up and up ever since. I mean, we've been the number one fastest growing business on the Inc. 5000, faster growing than like healthcare providers. And like, I'm talking number one in Jacksonville for any business, not just construction companies. So, and then we've been awarded best general contractor in Jacksonville 4 years in a row.
Amazing.
Starting in 2019. So 20 and 21, 22.
Okay.
So
yeah. I've got 2 questions for you.
All right.
I want to know, what is your biggest project? And I also want to know, what is your most unique project? Okay,
cool. So, what used to be my biggest was a 40,000 square foot auto dealership.
40,000.
Yeah. On 55 acres. Like a big site, you know, like it was for Copart. They're a top 100 company in the nation. and they might even be global, but anyway, they do like cars, like auction anyway, but we did a whole thing. But now that's like I've been dwarfed by these multifamily jobs. So right now we're turning a 116 unit hotel into apartments off of Bay Meadows Road.
Okay.
You could go buy it, 8737 Bay Meadows Road.
Okay.
So it's Lennox Cove, an investment group. I don't know if I am allowed to say their name or whatever, but they bought it and we're turning it into apartments. And so probably can't talk too much about numbers because
yeah, it's okay.
but it's up there close to 8 figures kind of thing. But
it seems really unique, a conversion like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like COUs and just like site work. There's just so many things that you have to, we've gotten, my team especially has gotten really good with dealing with the city, the building officials, the code compliance officers. And, to be transparent, we've made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And
sure.
But the beautiful thing about life is when you make mistakes, sometimes it's for the better, right?
Yeah.
You can learn from your failures. And I've actually gotten really tight with the code compliance guys. I mean, we text and they watch my YouTube videos, and the fire marshal watches my YouTube videos. It's just, it's cool.
So a 40,000 square foot warehouse?
Yeah.
No, you said dealership?
Yeah, it was. So
can you give the people an idea of that size structure? Because I don't want people to think, 2,000, 4,000 square foot house. Like,
right.
How big is that?
It's 40,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, no, but I feel you, man. I mean, it's like,
Amazon?
How big is your office? Yeah, it's like an Amazon warehouse. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. That could be 100,000. Yeah.
Both sides included is about 10,000 square feet.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a great space. 7,000 square feet. Yeah. But it was cool. I mean, all the roll up doors and, a huge, beautiful office with polished concrete floors and like got their Copart stripe. They were very particular about that blue stripe that goes specific number of inches down from the ceiling grid. Like it's got to be perfect, and the floor can't have any divots in it. So anyway, we just worked really, really tight. And we do daily logs on the mobile app. We're very tech centered. So yeah, we love tech. And it's almost like I'm running a tech company, but I'm not. But it's like we use Buildertrend, which is like another app that we use. I didn't build the app, but we use the app really heavily. And we use other tech. I built this is something I actually did build as an internal website for our employee systems.
Okay.
So people always come to me and they read E-Myth by, I love the comment. The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber.
Yep, Gerber.
And they're talking about systems. They're like, well, how do I actually systemize it? And you go and you talk to someone or read books and you're like, yeah, give all your employees like a 3-ring binder. And then whenever you update a system, like rip that page out. If it's wrong, put the thing back in. It's 3 rings, so you can easily put it in everyone's binders, right? What if you have 50 employees? What if you have 150 employees? So it's like I built an internal website on Squarespace. I sell the template now on JesseLaneConsulting.com,
nice.
And it's like $4,700. But it's my whole construction business systems in a box, and it's changing people's lives. I've sold like 15 of them, and it's just like people are freaking out. They private email me. They're just like, I had no idea that you would include all of your culture, all of your project manager, your superintendent roles, your admin.
Dude, that's all of your secrets.
So you have to get all your roles like documented, or else people aren't going to know what they're doing. So, but this internal website has it all. So it's pretty cool to take tech and really utilize it, within a business.
So if you're selling that binder to them, does that teach them how to use tech for that business, or does it give them the option to utilize the same type of program that you're utilizing?
Yeah, 100%.
Or do they have to go through you, or you have to give them access to special things you've built?
Right. No, not at all. So it's all theirs. So it takes everything that I've built. I transfer the whole ownership of the website. Pretty much, I make a copy of the Squarespace website that I've built as a template. Then I sign them as an admin and transfer the ownership. I do all that. They don't touch it. They don't have to worry about it. Yeah. But it's very turnkey for the buyer of this website template, because it's built for construction internal systems for your employees. That's what it is.
Nice. And one thing I can't stop thinking about, Jesse, is when I think about large projects, or if I think about projects at scale, I think about the cookie cutter aspect of things, right? I'm a builder. I build a single family home really well. Yeah. I have this template. I want to do the same thing on every lot throughout Jacksonville.
Right.
You're building very large, unique projects, commercial grade projects.
Each one's different.
Each one is different, right? So, I mean, are you nervous when you take these projects on? Butterflies? Do you turn them down? Anything down? Like, what goes through your mind when you start
Great
taking
question.
these jobs on?
We have like a really strict client qualification process. We don't just bid every job that comes in our door. I did that a lot and I really got hurt because you spend all your time bidding these jobs that they're like, they already have another bid. They're just getting the bid from you to see if you could be lower, but I'm not lower. I'm not the low guy. I'm never the low guy.
Yeah.
I'm the medium guy with the highest value. So, but every client's different, but also every project's different. So you have to kind of like have really quality people working for you and your team to marry those two things, like the client and the project. And then it takes our team and you kind of mesh. And if we don't fit that mesh mold, because if it has to align, right? So boom, if we're like, oh, in that initial call, we really hit it off. And it's like, you have the rough budget for the job. We've talked rough idea on scope. You don't have to know exactly what you want, but it's like, if we can talk about what you want and then that'll help us get our rough conceptual pricing together. And if we're like, that job's $1 million and you're like, well, I wanted to spend $250,000. Sorry, but we can't do your job. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so that's kind of our qualification process. It's a lot more in depth.
The next thing that I was curious about is your growth path. Sometimes people get to a certain point where they're doing jobs of a certain size. They're making a certain amount of income. They're happy. You chose to go beyond that.
Right.
Why?
Dude, I think I'm a naturally driven person. And so I'll never be stuck at mediocre, you know? And so like, I don't know, like if you just want to have $1 million business, and I think maybe $1 million or $2 million business is more stressful than a $10-15 million business, which is kind of where I am at now, because like I have a C-suite, I have a COO, a CTO, and I'm the CEO for now. But if I'm maybe on a 50 to 100 million, I might not be the CEO. Now there probably is some like bigger mistakes that could happen or whatever. Like if you're doing 50, 100 million, like, or 500 million or $1 billion, like I can't imagine. Maybe that's like a whole new world. Maybe in my 40s but maybe I don't. Maybe there's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have been on this trajectory where it's just like 1,000% growth like every year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like at least doubled in some years, and then like one year we hit like 900 or more percent growth.
So can you explain a little bit more to the viewers on why you think the $1 to $2 million business might be a little bit more stressful?
Yeah, for sure. So it's
I know
like,
you said you had the C-suite.
Exactly. So it's more about like project management, right? So if you can't really afford that $100 and something $1,000 a year project manager, you're going to be doing it all yourself.
Right.
So you have to have enough sales to afford hiring the right people. And then you really can't hire like an admin person, or you're too cheap because you really aren't making. So then you're doing all your bookkeeping and your admin, and or maybe you're hiring out those things, but you're the superintendent. You know what I mean? So it's just like
wearing a lot of hats.
And that's just what was such a struggle in the beginning of my company. And I really had to persevere the first 5 years.
Gotcha.
It was so hard the first 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm talking still really, but like no Netflix, like the first 5 years I'm referring to at this point, no friends. I mean, like I had friends, and like I'm saying like, no, like I'm out to the movies with friends kind of thing. I would eventually like break down to like, I'm like grinding my bones. Like, okay, I'll go out to dinner, with friends. But it's like, there really is a sacrifice to starting a business. I'm sure you're well aware.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my first business. This is my second major business that we've owned. My first company was, for the first 4 years, it was 6 a.m. until midnight.
Yeah.
Every day, 7 days a week for the first 4 years.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. And the type of business that we were in was mortgage field services. So
were you married then? Are you?
I got married when I started the business.
Okay.
That is smart.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because when I first started, it was, I was studying to be a firefighter. So I was in fire school. Mm-hmm. I was studying to be an EMT. I worked full-time for Citigroup. I worked in a customer service call center in the retention department. And then if I was going to get a job as a firefighter, I was going to take half of a salary pay cut, because I was making about 70 to 80 grand at that time. Firefighters in Jacksonville are making 30 to start. So that's when I started my first business. And my wife was pregnant with our firstborn.
Wow, that's a lot.
We had all that going on at one time.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting experience.
Wow. Yeah. So how did you get through that?
6 a.m. until midnight,
right,
for the first 4 years.
So is it about hours, or is it about deep work, quality work, focus on the right things?
I think it was about putting in the time, the grit, and the effort
Yeah.
to get to where I can step back and to have things taken care of. Kind of similar to maybe you with the C-suite.
Mhm.
You've got individuals in place, and before you had them in place, you were doing kind of all of it on your own.
Yeah.
Which I've done that for years, and kind of we have a little bit of setback in our company now. Where I'm
Right.
taking on a lot of responsibilities that have offset.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah,
must be
which is
hard
fine.
to scale
I mean,
back like
it's
that.
a bittersweet thing. I mean, it's sweet.
Have you talked about
because-
that publicly at all?
A little bit. I mean, we're not hiding it. We're
Right.
not hiding it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 30 individuals, and now there's 8 of us. So we scaled back to 8, and we took some of those hats that we offset. We took them back on.
Right. So we're filming this December 6th, 2022. Not really sure what the feds are going to do with their rates. You're a wholesaler, and there's a recession, and there's just so many
what's
things.
funny about this? The funny part is when I pivoted and got into wholesaling with
Mhm.
my partner Gonzalo,
Mhm.
we were taught in some of the trainings that wholesaling is a recession-proof business.
Mm.
That kind of it is. Like you can still get deals done, and you can still
Depends who's
go
buying.
direct to sellers, right? But tons of buyers, they go out of the market. And we're learning this now
Mm.
because we didn't know that 5 or 6 years when we first started the company.
And you saw
Tons
mainly
of
like
buyers, they
hedge
just
funds.
go on pause. A lot
Yeah.
of them buy way deeper, so
Yeah.
you can still get deals done,
Right.
but it's a whole different ballgame, right? Yeah, and then we did a bunch of hedge fund business.
So they were
over the
buying, what,
last year
80
and a half to 2 years,
85 to 105% ARV.
90 to 105%
90 to 105.
of ARV,
Wow.
right? So we were able to buy, but they liked a little bit nicer houses and a little bit nicer areas.
And they were
So
renting it out.
they're a different kind of a seller than a typical wholesale deal seller, because a wholesale deal seller, they might be in like up and coming areas.
Mhm.
Values could be questionable. You do still have to find the motivation.
Mhm.
But when we're acquiring deals for a hedge fund client, they want 95 and newer in most cases, sometimes 2000 and newer. So they
Mhm.
want a little bit nicer
And they
properties,
rent
a
them
little
out.
bit nicer neighborhoods, and they're going to keep them, right? So they'll play close
What's
to,
the strategy
close
of
to retail.
of paying retail?
So I'm not going to say this the best. There's a couple of individuals on the team that know a little bit better than I, but they basically, and then feel free anyone to comment if I screw this up, but they basically acquire to buy and to hold. They create some type of bond. So they securitize the assets into a portfolio.
Okay.
It becomes some type of bond, and they do it in association with the federal government.
Gotcha.
Right? So there's this whole like kind of back end purpose
Wow.
to how they make sense, because we can't make sense of cash flow on buying something for $300,000 to $400,000 that rents out for $1,800 a month, right? And then most of those are not most of those, but a lot of those are in subdivisions with HOA fees. So like
Right.
the cash flow goes extremely negative for someone like me,
Yeah.
but they've figured out a way to make sense of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So we
So you
had
scaled back.
about 12 to 15 strong relationships. So we did about 40 in 1 month, 40 buy and sells. We had 70 under contract before the first interest rate changed
Mhm.
to sell. So we were really
So
working
April?
on ramping up. This is about May.
May.
Yeah. This is about May. And that's where things started to change a little bit. So now we really have about 2 semi kind of strong hedge funds that are still buying right now.
Okay.
So we're doing some hedge fund deals and most of just typical wholesale deals that we'll sell to buy and hold, local buy and hold investors or
Right.
or flippers.
Well, dude, I hope you can
Yeah.
get through this.
Oh yeah.
this
I
season.
think we're do fine. We're proven to do fine. Last couple of months, things are looking really good with
Yeah.
the small team that we have now.
Mhm.
And then once the silver lining shows itself a little bit more over the course of the next 6 months or so,
Yeah.
then turn the gas back on.
One thing I just did was liquidated some cash. I liquidated like $750,000 of like just like money that I had stuck. So now I have that money to sit on and get through the recession.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and I'm at this point I'm actually looking to hire. If there's any commercial project managers out there that can, or superintendents or flex people, superintendents, project managers, apply at jlaneconstruction.com/apply.
Yeah. And you talked about your video, the first 30 years?
Yeah.
First 30 years?
Yeah.
Can they find that on your website also?
It's actually on my company website
On
at
the
the
front
very
page?
bottom. Yeah. I just threw it on there. I was
Can
like,
you talk a little bit about that?
the video,
just
yeah.
Give a quick overview.
Just like, came into the world, like I said, straight out of my mom. My dad was filming.
Okay.
And I just go through my struggles. Like I was going to be dead or in jail when I was like,
What?
yeah, 12, 13, 14. I got kicked out of every single school I went to.
Okay.
Teachers said I would never be successful. I couldn't remember things. I couldn't get good grades.
Did some of that change, hopefully, now?
No, I still can't get good grades. I still have a horrible memory. But what I can do is use Siri reminders. And Siri changed my life. Hashtag shout out to Siri. So
Siri thanks you, I'm sure.
yeah, she does. She knows. So it's just, I was built differently. And so, but going through those struggles and being kicked out of every single school and just smoking pot and just like really failing, to turning around, the documentary, I think, really does a great job as far as just laying out it's 58 minutes and it just tells the story. And it's called The First 30 Years. If you type it in, then maybe my name, put that on YouTube, Jesse Lane, The First 30 Years. So I don't want to spoil it.
It sounds like a historical video.
It's really
kind of like Netflix needs to pick it up.
But a lot of people have said that. It's like, I don't even know who to contact. But
right. Send it to Joe Rogan. Maybe he can.
Yeah.
He's got specials on Netflix. So.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'll call it. I'll call in a favor if I can.
You don't know Joe Rogan.
No. I know of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is, so you said the most unique project, right? You said was the conversion that you're working on in Bay Meadows.
Well, that's a massive
unique one or the...
I don't know, man. We've done like a skincare facility for Calvera. That was cool. An orthodontic shop. I don't really know of a super unique top of my head.
You did a private jet facility.
Private jet facility, yeah.
What is that?
We didn't build it ground up, but we renovated it.
Okay.
Signature flight. And so people come in, they park their private jets. And we came in, we renovated all of their like break rooms and like their coffee area and like their control room. So we're back there like, gutting their control center, like, laying down like all this new flooring and doing,
So when you get a project like that, is it like, oh shit, what the hell are we going to do? Or are you like super excited?
No, I'm stoked. Yeah. Like I'm stoked. It's because it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. Because that's kind of how I think. Like you could probably tell, like when you ask me a question, I'm like, bing, 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 bing. I'm like, wait, did I answer your question?
How and why does someone come to you to renovate their private jet facility?
I think they're intrigued by our value. Like like I said, they know me before they call me, And so it's like,
they maybe saw you on social media.
Exactly.
Okay.
But also they just Google commercial general contractor in Jacksonville, Florida, or just general contractor in Jacksonville, Florida. You're going to see J-Lane Construction. You're going to see that we're like the highest rated. And you're going to then maybe click our website and then you'd be like watching all these client testimonial videos. And it's like, if all these other people had such a great experience, and then you go to, then why wouldn't I? Then you go to other GC websites and it's like, it looks like a spreadsheet.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure this question comes up, and maybe not from that company, but companies, because a lot of your projects are unique. Were they trying to figure out whether you've ever done another private jet facility before?
Oh, that's a good question.
Did it worry them?
That's a fantastic question. Because like when you're first starting, what do you do if you have never built a restaurant before or a apartment, like anything like that? And so no, I had never at that point. That was one of my first projects. Like when I got into the commercial world, they weren't too concerned because of how confident. It was the confidence that I displayed of, I know this scope. Look at this project that I've done this scope on. Look at this project that I've done this scope on. And it all ties together. And it's like just the fact that it's a private jet facility, it may sound really cool. Yeah, you have a control board and you have this and that, and you have different like maybe policies or whatever, but it really is not, commercial projects really aren't that much different from each other. So from my brewery to my dessert shop, it's kind of the same thing. It's still MEP, fire suppression, and roofing and flooring, concrete. You know what I mean? Metal framing and 5/8 drywall and fire suppression. Right.
When I go into some of these places, some of these commercial places like car dealerships, private jet facilities that I always go into. Yeah. It's not like going into a freshly built home or remodeled flip where, I look at the LVP or the drywall. I can go get that in Home Depot. I look at these wooden, decorative wooden walls and all of this craziness put together that looks like a beautiful piece of art. Yeah. Like, where do you even begin? Do you have to create that stuff, or where do you even go to get it?
It's such a good, dude. You're great questions, honestly, and it comes down to your design team. So we've learned who not to use because we've made mistakes hiring the wrong architect.
Oh, jeez.
It's anyway. So then we hire the right architect, and it's like night and day. It's the architect, but we are a design build GC, so we work hand in hand with 6 disciplines: architectural, structural, civil, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the components that make up a design on a project. And so our architect, so when a client comes to us and they say, we want you to design, build our project, a lot of times we'll start and say, well, let's do a little sliver of a commitment. Say, give me $5,000 or $10,000 or like whatever the value may be, like a smaller amount versus $1 million or $5 million
Oh yeah.
or $10 million. And say, let's give you a conceptual kind of idea on an elevation and a floor plan, and then MEP narratives. So MEP stands for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So mechanical is HVAC, electrical and plumbing is. So once we have that conceptual thing done, this is like our design build process I'm talking about right now. Once we have that conceptual phase done, we're going to know a lot more about, it's like 10% or so of the actual total like design process. So we complete a little bit, but then we know like kind of much closer what it's going to cost, like 95% accuracy or 90 or 98, or it depends on the project, but versus like 30% or like a conceptual, like pie in the sky, like back a napkin thing.
Mm-hmm.
So once we have that, then we can sign a design build contract. Then we can get into, to answer your question, I'm actually going to do it this time, is getting into those finishes and those selections in the design build portion, you know? Yeah. So hopefully this might be, I'm not sure if everyone's kind of picking up on what I'm saying, but you start with, this is our process. We start with conceptual, get a lot of it figured out, get those narratives and the floor plan, and then one elevation, and we can know kind of what it's going to look like, what the floor plan is going to be. Elevation is just it shows from the side or the front view, like you can see what the building is going to look like.
Sure.
From the outside. And then a floor plan is just like you take a piece of paper and you're looking straight down on your floor, you know, and you see your walls, just
walls,
like
doors.
Yeah. So, and then your MEP is going to say, well, your mechanical is going to tell you this is where your ductwork goes. This is about how many CFMs, and this is about how many tons you're going to need. And then an electrical, amps, volts, wattage, you know, all this stuff. Like you need a 400 amp panel for this space, you know. And then plumbing, you know, this is where the bathrooms are going to go, blah blah. So water heater in this closet. Anyway, so it really gives us a lot of data. Then we can sign a design build contract and then start picking out finishes and get the client what they really want. That was a lot of words.
There's a lot of words.
I probably could have
a lot of acronyms.
Condensed that.
Yeah. Usually, if I don't understand something, I take it as disrespect. But I don't think that you meant it that way this time. So, there's a lot that goes into it. People don't anticipate that stuff.
Yeah, and you know, I think we do a good job of like explaining it to the client. You know, and we're trying to get better and better. Like even today, we had a meeting. Like, let's talk about our brochure and like our explaining our processes, so the client really gets it. You know, because I'm all about systemization. So if we can build a new process and we have to keep explaining it, once you explain it that second time, build a process for it. You know, so we're building visuals. Do
you have like a video library that you also have to send them so that they kind of understand it in more depth, or is it really just person?
No, but it's like that's in the back of my head. So like
as I kind of think of a business plan, like people
this.
might have a 60-page business plan, and then you want to turn that 60 page into 30 pages, then 15. We need this all on one page, so you need this explanation for your clients on one page. Very clear, concise, so that they understand it.
Yes. It's funny because we just talked about that today. So
Which is one of the most difficult things to do.
It really is hard.
Too much data.
So a lot of info. You heard me ramble, but you know, working on condensing that and getting the client what they need.
Where's your coverage area? Are you just local in Jacksonville? Are you the state of Florida?
We're taking over the world.
Taking over the world.
No, I'm just kidding. We're in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Great question. We are we're Florida wide, but we have hopes and dreams maybe in the next 5, 10, 15 years to kind of take over the nation.
Okay. Take over the nation.
Take it over.
Okay.
I'm going to be president.
President of the nation?
No.
Why not?
No, I would never be president. I'm horrible at politics.
The best president there ever was. Yeah. No president better
than you. It's going to be super fantastic. It's going to be huge.
In the nation. What about beyond? You're going to stop there?
I think, why? I don't know, man. Let's do another podcast in 10 years.
I know that.
Yeah, maybe they do. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, my systems can be scaled, you know, so I'm definitely open to that in the future.
When do you think you'll start? Because do you have to go to like another state first? You can't just like.
I would say so. I think I need to get licensed in like maybe Georgia, or like maybe we can go to Colorado, and like, you know, I probably don't want to. I don't know about California and New York. I mean, at least real estate's a little rough there. I'm not sure. Maybe construction is great. I don't know. I think, but Florida, we have no reason to go anywhere else right now because Florida's crushing it. I think DeSantis is amazing, and I think it'll be the last to dip in a recession.
I gotcha. Awesome, man. Well, so what's next for Jesse Lane? What's immediately next? What should people look out for? Should they keep an eye on your website, YouTube channel? What?
Yeah, I just had my first business conference in October
Oh
of
yeah, let's talk about
2022.
that.
Well, it was just awesome. I had 80 people show up from like across the
That's
nation.
incredible. Where was that?
Yeah, it was at my church, actually, River City Church,
Oh no way.
Belfort or South Point Parkway. Anyway,
Okay.
but it was so awesome, dude. I got chills even talking about it. Just like the people.
When was that again?
It was in October.
October.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 months ago. So they just showed up, bro, and they just like hugged me and just like came on stage like after the fact and like grabbed the mic, was just like, Jesse Lane like changed my life, and like watching his videos, like I became a GC because of him, and like because I do a lot of videos on like how to get your license and how to find subcontractors and how to start your business. Like I really want to help people.
Right.
You know, like,
right. Of course.
Yeah.
What were some? Can you recall one of the success stories that someone might have talked about?
Oh gosh, I suck at remembering specific stuff, but it's just like a conglomerate in my head of like all these people that watched a video, got their license, started their business, bought my like templates, because on Jesse Lane Consulting,
You
I tell
have those
templates.
stories from the video to the startup and beyond?
Well, at the end of my documentary, I have a bunch of videos from people
No way.
giving me videos saying, Jesse Lane, it's whoever, whatever his name was, from Australia, mate. I just watched your
No
videos,
way.
and this guy, hey, it's Prakash from India, or like people all across the world are watching. Maybe they
Holy
couldn't have
moly.
come to the conference, but
Right. And they're using your concepts in
Yeah.
their countries.
yes,
That's
yes,
freaking
and they're
crazy.
buying my templates. Like I sell a proposal template and an estimating spreadsheet, and I sell hundreds, thousands of these things, and they're
Gotcha.
yeah.
How many days was the event?
It was two. It was
was 2
Saturday and
days.
Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
This year coming up now in 2023, I'm planning on doing something even bigger and really, really
Oh,
cool.
No way.
I got some things in the works, maybe a little bit of George Headley, which is
Okay.
that guy that I referenced that I read his book that
Yep, yep,
changed
yep.
my life in the past. I've been talking to him. So a lot of exciting
How
stuff
amazing. is
coming up. I
that?
think that would be the one big thing to look forward to in
So
October.
what should people keep an eye on? Just your social media?
Yeah, just
pages?
Jesse Lane TV on Instagram, and then just my name, Jesse Lane, on YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yeah, and
Okay.
so Jesse Lane
Subscribe,
TV.
hit the bell. all that
Yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, exactly. I would definitely subscribe to Jesse Lane on YouTube. I mean, that's my main platform, I would say. Instagram is more. I love Instagram. Those are my two main platforms. I don't know about you. I'm curious to hear, but like Instagram and YouTube. My wife's like blowing up on TikTok right now, but like there's so many.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many
yeah.
different platforms, and I suck so bad at LinkedIn. Like I don't know what it is, but like I'll post, I'll get like 8 likes.
I don't know if I've heard of someone doing really well on LinkedIn or
Really?
killing it on LinkedIn.
I don't know.
But then again, I'm
Yeah.
not really in the social media world too.
Oh,
deeply.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a little bit of Instagram, a little bit of, Facebook, just general posts,
Yeah,
family type stuff. A little.
Right,
The
right,
show
right,
is
right.
probably one of the things that we do the most.
Yeah, I've definitely
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah, and we post on Yellowbird and stuff. The show. I
Yep,
guess.
yep.
Yeah.
For
Yellowbird's
sure,
pretty
for
cool.
sure. Yeah, and one thing we didn't touch on, maybe we can just spend a couple of minutes on it before we wrap this up, but multifamily.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll renovate them, you'll develop them.
Yeah.
We
so
didn't talk about it a
I
whole lot.
bought like my own multifamily deal. Like we kind of talked about.
Oh, yeah,
was at the DLP event and whatever.
10 unit.
The 10plex, yeah. So I know what it's like to own, but I do deals that are the $40 million, the $80 million deals. Like not like me, but like a client like doing these bigger deals, like the 300 units, the 116 units, the 232 units. Renovating these things, value added them. Maybe they spend 20, 30 grand a door. Maybe they spend 40, 50 grand a door. Like including an amenity center, new roof, windows, MEP, flooring, cabinets, granite, paint.
I would imagine with all of these projects and all of this experience, I mean, do you have a tough time taking on all of the clients that want to work with you?
I have a tough time getting back to all the leads.
Wow.
I really do. And a lot of them, I hate to say it, man, but they go unanswered. Like the residential ones, like the ones that you come into Chick-fil-A, I'm Chick-fil-A, and you're asking for a burger. I don't do residential is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
And so it's just when they call and they're the targeted client, I'm going to give them the time of day, especially when they're qualified in. I tell them, guys, listen, really want to make sure you're qualified. You have the money for the project. We're a good fit. You're a good fit, etc. We like each other. Then we really sink our teeth in. I mean, we estimate it before we even get the job hardcore, like every screw, every bolt. We don't change order. We
Mhm.
really try not to. Like some GCs are like, oh, the drawings don't show an electric panel, so I'm not going to include it. And then they go and the client hires the GC that was lower than me, but I included the electric panel because I know they they need it to operate their business, you know?
Right. So what do you think will happen there? They'll just hit them with another bill later?
Oh yeah, they'll get a change order. Say, well, do you want me to complete your job? You know?
Right.
You need an electric panel, don't you? Why didn't you? It's on the drawings. I said, I'm going to do what's on the drawings. That's what these GCs are doing. And that's what we're really trying to do differently. But the problem we've run into, it's not how the GC world, it's kind of cutthroat, but I'm not a cutthroat guy. Yeah. So it's just what a lot of these clients don't understand.
Right. So I guess your challenge is trying to figure out what to point out so that they don't miss it on their other estimates.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't know what someone's going to hold back.
Right.
You can't assume that they're going to get something with half of the responsibilities on
I don't know that. Yeah.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
It is hard.
So I guess that's where your personality,
honesty,
your
integrity,
your social media videos will all portray.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
just keep being consistent, you know?
Now I'm seeing why the social media is so important.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love it, man.
That's amazing.
That's good stuff.
So once again, can you let everyone know how to reach out to you on social media or how to follow you? It's Instagram.
I appreciate it. Instagram is Jesse Lane TV, JESSELANE TV. So, and then just YouTube is just Jesse Lane, JESSELANE. Oh, questions?
I mean, we just can't even.
Hey, we're all people. Want to answer them? Where are they? Oh, we can't really see them, man.
Yeah,
read
can't see
them to us, Mike.
I think we might have a couple of minutes on. We've got some questions.
Yeah, read them. Well, what kind of, I don't know what, I wish I could like bring him in. Like what kind of projects does he invest in? Is it large multifamily? Is it like crappy little flips? Like, is he trying to do lipstick on a pig? Cause like, if you're trying to do lipstick on a pig and you want to reach out to J Lane Construction, kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, in the most respectful way. But then if you're like, but are you an investor that's wanting to do really quality work, not at the like super retail price, but at a good price? You know, like, I don't know, what exactly are you trying to do? The secret to working with contractors, the one secret would be to scope the project's scope. You have to know what the scope is. If you come to a contractor and like, I don't know what I want, a GC can help you, especially if it's design build, pick your flooring, pick your this, pick your that. But if you're going to go in and like start changing it and then do this and like, what about that? Get that kind of figured out first. And then come to them with a clear, concise plan, because their time is really valuable.
That's true. And what I would add to that, I mean, I'm not a general contractor, but I've got some experience.
You're close now.
in another industry. But yeah, I'm closer now for sure. But I mean, I think I would network and just talk to a ton of other general contractors or vendors, pick their brains, see what makes you comfortable, and then also go with your gut. A lot of times your gut's not wrong. If you feel like something's wrong, then you might just want to check on the job or call the individual.
Great episode. Nice. Okay, what's the next question?
It is, what was your biggest fail in the business?
My biggest fail. Dang. Well, some of it can't really talk about too much. there's
we only talk about the wins.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, we've made some mistakes where I had a business partner once on like, we kind of joint venture on a project, and there were some permits not pulled, and that almost took me out of business. And so I was just kind of
SOPs, man.
Yeah, I was kind of following the lead and like everything like that. So that was my biggest fail. And I'll never ever do that again.
What do you have, like some kind of checklist or some kind of SOP?
There's a standard operating procedure where J Lane internal, you know, it's like that internal systems website I talked about.
Oh yeah,
it's all in there. There's a permitting tab, and it's heavily built out now.
Can't risk it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Awesome. Once again, thanks, guys. We did the closing already, so we appreciate you guys.
Hey, double closing.
Have a great evening. See ya.